Hello, everyone. This is Owned Wall Street, analyzing the three major U.S. markets indexes. So I'm looking at the Dow Jones, I'm looking at the Nasdaq, and S&P 500 in this video segment. So we're going to start off with the Dow Jones. I have it on a daily time frame. Before I left for vacation, I did mention that support would be around this 20,800 level, let's call it, which would be this 50-period simple moving average coinciding with it, and then a break below would in fact bring prices down lower to about 20,500 or so. And then if unable to maintain that level, then we'll be back to about the 20,400 support level mentioned several weeks back at this point. So we've had an interesting week. Price did bounce off this 20,500 level and then challenged this 50-period simple moving average. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. So you can see here that price did close above it and close right at the support level before. So again, it'll be very interesting to see what happens here. We do have a bearish cross of my moving average signals here on a daily time frame. So that's not exactly a good thing, but not terrible in the overall scheme of things, as price is still above this previous downtrend line here, and we did in fact take a little bit of a breather and close these two gaps that we did in fact. Or I did mention a few weeks back. So, price action is looking fairly healthy. Dropping down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see here that we do have a gap that we are looking to close, and with the bullishness here, there's another gap here that we're going to have to end up closing. So if we get back above this 50-period simple moving average on the 4-hour time frame, I would look for a gap close here at around 20,960, with a potential to again test these highs at around 21,000. So that'll be the line in the sand, 21,000. If we can get above that level, then we will be looking at potentially going to test previous highs set at around 21,120, 21,130. So that's what I'll be seeing, looking for in the early part of the week as far as the Dow Jones is concerned. If price cannot get back above this 50-period simple moving average, then I would expect that price will bounce between these two levels here at around 20,500 and 20,800. We also have the of note is the 200-period simple moving average on a daily time. I'm sorry, 4-hour time frame. So that is something else that you should just keep in mind, that we are now between the 50 and 200 on the 4-hour time frame. So to bring it all together, I'd expect that price will make maybe a pop to this 21, let's call it 21,000 level, and just to close this gap at least, and then possibly come back down. So it'll be an interesting start to the week as well as finish to the week. I will give my midweek video analysis as usual, and that'll be out on Wednesday evening. So let me go ahead and analyze for you the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. Okay, before you have the Nasdaq on the daily time frame. I'll zoom in a little bit to give you a better look of what exactly is happening. So we did have a very strong push last few days, and we ended up putting in a new high at around 61.70, and then price had a gap down, and due to the selling pressure, we did continue lower and maintained the 50-period simple moving average. So that's bullish, and we have my moving averages here showing a bearish cross taking place here. So in the grand scheme of things, I still think that the Nasdaq and general U.S. markets have a little bit of push left in them to get a little bit higher, at least to close their gaps. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see that price will probably bounce down to this 50-period simple moving average again before proceeding higher to close this gap and possibly test new highs. So I do believe that the U.S. markets can and will probably test their previous market highs in the earlier part of the week or sometime this week. But either way, again, I will be giving my weekly midweek update on Wednesday evening, so stay tuned for that. But as far as near term is concerned, I'd expect price action to kind of come back to around the 60.58 level to close this gap here, and maybe possibly bounce off this 50-period simple moving average. So that's the two levels that I'd be looking at if I was to get an entry on the futures markets. Let me go ahead and bring up the S&P 500 for you. All right, and here before you have the S&P 500 on the daily time frame. Looks very similar to the Dow Jones, as I commented in one of my previous videos. So again, same type of situation. We had the gap up. Zoom in on the 4-hour time frame so you could take a better look at it. We had this gap here that took place. We got around, got back above this 50-period simple moving average, which is bullish. So more of the same. I'm expecting, price to kind of close these gaps here and potentially test these all-time highs, and then we'll have to see what happens. So again, in my midweek analysis, I'll be able to have a better idea of where the markets are going. But for right now, as far as a big move in the upside or downside, I see, basically price just going between the 2365 level and 2400 on the S&P, and that's the area that I'll be looking at. So anyway, we're not really going to have a major move, I don't believe, in either way, unless something unexpected occurs. But keep an eye on this 50-period simple moving average. That's basically the key for the U.S. markets at this time. Nasdaq is definitely further away from it than the Dow and the S&P are, but in the near term, I'd expect that price will probably just chop around a little bit. Try to do a pop, test this 2400 level, and then potentially 2405. But it looks like the markets are approaching exhaustion overall. So again, I wouldn't be putting in too many fresh longs at this level. I'd rather wait and see what happens. U.S. Economic news has been a little weak of late, so I'd rather just stay away from these index plays personally. There's money to be made in other locations at this time. So if you are looking at these indexes and trying to, move your funds around and whatever, just keep an eye on this 50-period moving average and this 200 period right here. Better to average down closer to down here than it is to average in, up here. So that's just my personal opinion. You may disagree, and that's fine. Everybody has their own opinions. So my own opinion is we'll be looking at closing this gap here before going back up here. So look for price action between 2400 and 2367. I'm on Wall Street. This has been a presentation from thetradersperspective.com analyzing the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and S&P 500. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on Wednesday.